crazy wisdom, light and shade, diba? Stitches and burns. I swear, man, it sounds like it's a painting. And their songs sound like they're beautiful paintings too. And you can enjoy them perform live this August 15 here at the event space at Tops. Please don't miss out and get your tickets now. Don't be one of those last minute people na mopalit og tickets ka na on the day itself na. So make sure you guys get your tickets now. I think you can get it here at the souvenir shop at Tops, or you can go to Montebello Villa Hotel and get yourself some tickets to watch Per Sorensen, the voice of Fra Lippo Lippi, live here at Tops. Right now, atong tak na karon 23 minutos nang milabay sa alas 10. Ang atong topic karong buntaga is seniority versus ability. In the workplace, di ba? And not just in the workplace, in government, in society in general. Do we as a society still respect seniority, or do we value ability more? That's our conversation, kanang buntaga. What are your thoughts on that topic? Starting with you, Hillary. You're an intern, right? Both of you are interns, and
Yeah.
we happen to celebrate International Interns. National na wala di labot uban kalibutan uban nga naso di ay ang kuan day Pilipinas day. The other nations don't care.
No.
At least not yet. So intern man gid mo duha, like
Yeah.
how do you feel about it, especially not just here in the workplace but also at home or in school, like di ba we're always told, I remember being told by my parents,
Aba matindi!
and you know, in school nga you have to respect your parents, diba? Respect the elders,
The elders.
and all of that stuff. Come on, how do you feel about seniority versus ability? Which does society value these days? Value more, I mean.
In my opinion, the most companies, they still value seniority over ability, and I get that. I mean, there's a reason why they stayed long in that company. It must be because like their performance is good and whatnot. But at the same time, namang ko'y other companies pod na bisag naanay mas maayo ato na senior, pero mas like maybe they're still new in the company, but maybe they have better ideas or better perspectives on something. They still tend to value the idea or the opinion sa senior rather than sa katong mas junior niya. And I think yeah, it should be something to be like maybe, for lack of a better term, investigated, or like something na dapat mo like i-change gani na, like we should also learn to value the opinions of the juniors rather than keeping on like mag-rely lang ta permi sa mga seniors. I think that's my 2 cents on this so far.
So which one does society value now more? Seniors, or do they value ability more? Kaya posible man sad nga ang usa ka tawo parehas lang edad, for example, but the
Yeah.
other person is just
They started earlier.
like
sa
one
company.
day more senior, for example lang ba. And but the other person has more ability, right? So based on that example and based on what you've observed, kita karon sa society in school, di ba? You're expected to respect your teachers, di ba?
Yeah.
And all of that stuff, right? Is it disrespect ba kung moingon ka sa imong maestra nga I think you're wrong, or I think that's not correct, or I think I have another idea. Is that being rewarded by in school or not?
It depends sa teacher, especially if
Yeah.
ang teacher is kanang maybe like older na pud siya na teacher or more
Mm.
traditional siya na teacher. We've had teachers na
Hindi nga
kanang
correct.
dili sila ganahan i-correct, or like kanang mga na sila na even though na this principle they're teaching is outdated, they still say na kanang kani jud dato sundon kay mo niya nasa libro na teachers na yung ana, and
Yeah.
there are times na kanang dili jud siya ikon, dili jud siya reward, i-punish siya even. But there are teachers pod na they welcome criticism, they
Yeah.
welcome
Welcome ideas, new ideas.
open ideas. It's really dependent kung ta siya na
Yeah, pero kadaghanan guro sa di ko siya kadaghanan ba. Sa ko lang guro nagian kay usually ang teachers kay dili kay sila welcome to dili ba
kanang ma-correct nga na.
I guess. Ano, murag, daghan pa ko nagian noon, na kanang very open sila to like new ideas, maminaw, ana. Pero daghan pud ang kanang murag, let's say, for lack of a better term, terror. Ana,
But it will also depend on how you would say or how you
yeah, mo
correct the
pud.
teacher. But what if like ni correct ka niya kay like very
Ma'am,
like a
ma'am,
very
sayop ka, uy.
oh, di mo na mao mami nga
Mm.
what if nga na di yung pagsulti sad. So it yeah, respect like it's respect like depende sa gun sa inyong pag-ingon. Ingon pud respectfully. Ayaw sad like pagpano it all when
Kaya para
Figure
na ako manggod,
out.
ang kung badlungon nimo ang usa ka estudyante, bata pa kayo, nga ni speak out siya bitaw,
mm,
the point for me is not whether the person is wrong or right, or the student is wrong or right. The my point is nga he voiced out. He was able to stand up, raise his hand, and say, "I have a better idea," and that takes a lot of courage,
Courage.
a lot of strength, diba? So it doesn't matter if the person is wrong or right. The point is nga gi-allow na siya, and you have an environment that allows
Yeah,
for,
for
dissent,
conversation.
right?
Yeah,
So nindot na siya nga butang, bahala nagpataka siya gabugot-but. Yeah, that's not the point. Whatever he's saying is probably very atrocious, right? But the point is he was able to muster enough strength to
Challenge.
stand up in front of his classmates and challenge what the teacher said. And that's a beautiful thing to encourage, right? What do you think?
yeah. That's really actually yung gamer mo allow siya for an environment of healthy conversation gani. At least in that way pod makabalo pod ka na imong estudyante na minaw nimo. Kana kay naagod siya kanang naagod siya courage na na siya na courage na kanang mo talk about sa iyong gistoryahan. So it means na iyang gi-follow ang every detail na imong giingon. Kay para for him or her to notice something wrong and makakama sa iyang own ideas. Ana. So it's not necessarily bad. It's actually healthy na murag it teaches kids pod na not to stay silent if man na kayo makita ang sayop.
Yeah,
Ana.
that in itself is also respect man pod na like kanang naminaw jud kasi
Yeah.
and you
But do most teachers treat it like that? Nga naminaw jud kanila, or do they look at that as a kind of disrespect?
I think there are teachers who do think of it as like a snipe.
Yeah.
Na
Oo.
Na like para sa na like kanang nagtinarong kog kon diri imo koy nga nanaon.
Mm.
No.
So they take it personally.
Yeah,
there are
uban,
some.
yeah.
Interesting. Because especially in the workplace ba, this is also kind of a generational gap, di ba?
Mm-mm.
Di ba?
Yeah.
There's the baby boomers, the Gen X and the Gen Z and all of that stuff, right? And a certain generation knows more about the internet more than another, right? So this certain generation probably becomes more relevant, especially if it's a company that relies on the internet and social media and all of that stuff. Right? And the older set might not be very familiar with the internet. So mura na sila set aside sila, di ba?
Mm.
So mura na sila disrespect
Yeah.
na murag, the
Giwa na gikuan sa trabaho.
gikuhaan
per
sila,
se.
gikuhaan sila trabaho, right? So this is actually a kind of a generational war, di ba?
It can be, yeah.
Especially with companies that rely really big sa mga tech niya.
Yeah.
Namo ko yung mga Gen X na uban na like dili sila ganahan mo adapt sa tech because of how complex it is.
Yeah.
And then ang Gen Z's pod mo na pud sila na this is the new normal. This is what we have to do now. So murag there's that murag tension between
There's a
both
tension, di ba?
generations.
Right?
Kaya ang kuan mo sa uban ko sana like sa older generation is nabuhi gyud to before na wala technology. Why do we need to adapt with na? The thing is the world is evolving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not the same as it was before. I'd like to ask you, sir, as
Go ahead.
someone
Go ahead.
in that
Ay, dili man siya older,
Yeah.
same
Like-
age.
like how did you adapt man to the changes in the especially example sa radio industry, and were
Yeah.
you very open to it already, or was there this sort of resistance on your
Always. Like I said, the beauty of radio for me in the beginning was because it's of its anonymity, di ba? Anonymity. Di mo ka makitaan, di ba?
part? Yeah.
So may camera, so radio naman, sinindot kayo, di ba? Then all of a sudden, there was a camera in
Live
front of
stream,
me. Kung
yeah.
dili mo ko makapangout sa akong lubot ani. Di mo ko makapangahingog mo ani. Ano bitaw? So murag it was weird to me actually in the beginning. But you understand how the world is going, where it's headed, and you figure out a way to adapt to the technological changes, di ba? I'm still not there yet. I mean, like I have not become a social media. Uh, I still don't inhabit that space as much as I would like to. But I'm trying. I'm trying. And I think the operative word is just to try. So why lang yun ka ba, di ba? I mean, there are certain things. There are a lot of valuable things that my profession has taught me in the past, and I can still apply now. There's a lot of things that still applies now, and there's a lot of things that don't apply anymore. So it's just a matter of choosing also. So I think the generation that uh, Gen Z man sa Gen X man
Gen X.
I'm Gen X, right?
Yeah.
And you guys are Gen Z or Gen Y or maybe
Gen
even
Z na.
Alpha.
Wala, ang alpha
No,
kay
alpha
yan na,
is
skibidi
also
reason.
Oh. So we have so much to learn from each other, right?
Yeah.
Like, ayaw pag hunahuna nga just because you know the internet, that means nga that's your world and you're fine with that. There's so many things that we also know that you probably don't and need to learn from us also. So I think it is still we are still very useful to each other, right? But makakita man kagud nga daghan kaayo nga ubang nga mga nasod. An example of this is New Zealand. I don't know if you Lucinda Ardern, the Prime Minister of New Zealand, who was already retired, but she was a very young Prime Minister of New Zealand, right? And daghan kayo mga batanon sila ni Vito Soto, right?
Yeah.
He's a mayor, right?
Mm-mm.
And many other prominent politicians in the Philippines and the world who are getting younger and younger. Diba? Nagkabata yun. Si AOC, who's a congressman from New York, but there's rumblings that she could be running for president. Who knows? And there's a clamor. I feel like there's a clamor for younger leaders, right? But you can also see nga daghan sa kayo mga tiguang kayo nga mga leader, di ba? Like Donald Trump is already almost 80 years old, di ba?
In real.
In relay, right? And so on and so forth. So you can tell nga there's still a lot of people who also still respect the elders, right? So to
Yeah.
speak, right? So what are your thoughts? Parang good na ako good kanang running a country is a young man's job. Para nako kanang even running a city is a young person's job. Kay kapoy mo kay na good. It's very stressful. It involves multidisciplinary skills. It involves thinking about many things at the same time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if you're not physically capable ba, follow mo good ang imuhang brains and good, ang minds and good. So I think you need to be present in many locations at the same time, or at very small lead times, diba? So I feel like it's a young man's job. Mura pag basketball ba, mura pag sport ba. Nga, diba, like LeBron James is now 40 years old, diba? And he's a freak of nature because of all the advancements and innovations of medicine and health and diet. He's reached that point in his career. Nga epektibo gyapon siya. He's still playing at a high level even though he's 40 years old. But by and large, basketball is a young man's job. Parang inana bitaw. Although there's a lot of technological advancements now. Again, probably do something about aging. Can do something about not being effective even at an advanced age. There are drugs, there are exercises, there are developments in technology that allow you to extend your effective life, right? So, unsa man gyud naa di ay sa senior sa mas na-experience nimo nga dili man ganahang uban og kaning senior why do younger people insist nga sila na ang mo lead? What is it about them nga mura og people are resisting and don't like? What do you think? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, maybe because a lot of the seniors in like some industries or companies, they're very traditionalist in nature.
Okay.
Yeah.
So traditional, what does that mean? When you say traditionalist, what does that mean?
They're very set with their principles or
Okay,
like
okay.
what they know gani. Dili
Mm.
daghanan sila kay dili sila open to new ideas.
Okay.
Dili sila where ganahan mo like mo ride sa trend
Mm.
ana gani. They want to keep working like how they've been working before. I think that's one of the main reasons why mga younger people dili sila ganahan sa mga
Yeah, and to add up, kuan ba, every generation has their own norms. Maglahi-lahi gyud na ang katong norms sa old generation or more dili na kay siya ingon na norms for the new generation. I think one more disparity sa kanang between the older generation and the younger generation is kanang ang kanang mga like katong imo gi-mention na mga conservatives di sila makagya traditional people di sila makagets na murag ang katong unsay normal niya before is not a normal for us now. We're more open, we're more like this kung sa inyo hawon ana someone and daghan kay na tao na murag lisod mag-accept ana na the world is forever evolving. Everything is changing.
Yeah, even for us Gen Zs, we already have like changes about Gen Alpha na human.
Yeah, even kami murag bubirduhan mi.
Oh, we already feel old when they like say those stuff like skibidi. Like what's skibidi? Like
You know, skibidi came from a toilet.
yeah. Like what's so funny about the toy?
I don't know.
Interesting.
Hello,
guys.
Ay,
Oh,
si
somebody-
Christine.
Good morning, Dia Christine. Good morning. Thank you so much for
morning.
joining us. Who else is here?
So I'd like to add, I think mas prefer usahay ang seniority. It's because we have this Filipino culture manggod nga pag matanda daw kay mas maalam kanang mas daghang wisdom and experience and all. And sometimes manggod we reject those kanang mga younger people gani nga naay kanang let's say experience pod or skills kay mo na gud ang uban nga ayo pamaymayran na siya niya wala pa na siya ka tungkad sa among naabot. I think ingana manggod ang usahay setup mo nang i-reject usahay ang mga
Well, what do you mean by setup? What do you mean by setup? That's not a setup. That's just what they think, right? Do you mean to say it's systemic? Nasa sistema ang pasabot mo nga setup? Is that what you mean? When you say setup,
Yeah.
that means it's in the system.
Yeah, sa so far lang sa akong nag-work mo sa ko before
Okay.
and then mas i-value nila ang let's say opinion gani sa mga like older or kanang mga tenured na mga agents kaysa sa mga bago lang not really bagong na hire pero like, dili mas dugay as sa tenured agents. So I think dapat i-abolish na nga
You know,
mindset. Like,
naghisgot
no
si Oli ganiha nga what was that? Nga lahi na karon, di ba? We're the new
Yeah.
generation now. But an argument can be made nga everything's a cycle. Kanang mga medyo senior na, dili kayo sila antsy, dili kayo sila excitable because they know where this is going. Kay bawa man sila asa ni padung. Ana bitaw, kita nga batan-on ta, myself included, what ta kibaw? We don't know what's in the horizon. So excited na. We don't know yet, we haven't experienced yet what's there in the curve. Kinam gyud ay mga di na to makitaan sa atong mga kaugmaon, di ba? Katong uban nga tiguwang na nakakita na sila unsay may tabo. So dili kay sila excited. So that's I guess the wisdom of experience ba. Nga dili kalma lang mugod like kay we've seen cycles. We've seen cycles of songs. We've seen cycles of fashion. You know, there's war and peace, di ba? There's prosperity and poverty. Cycle mo kining kinabuhi, di ba? So, you know, they probably apply it to the workplace also. Nga kanang negosyo sad, kanang whatever it is that you're doing, whatever place that you're working in, cycles na siya. So, mo na diferensya siguro sa tiguwang or senior na o kaning batanon pa because ang batanon pa wa pa sila kita sa unsay may tabo ang mga tiguwang murag na memorize na nila ba. So I think that can be like an advantage ba.
Yeah, but the
Murag
thing,
nakita sa big picture ba? Big
yeah.
picture bitaw.
But the thing is, katong sa the generation that they lived in, na may mga technologies and mga stuff na wala sa generation nila. So, I don't think they'll see the entire picture good.
That's correct. That's correct. But cutting technology is just a way to aid something, right? You know, I mean, there are still there's still a lot of principles that are considered old that still apply now. For example, one of the greatest management theorists, and I'm sure you read books from him, Peter Drucker, right? You know that, right? He was the one who said,
yes, Albert and Albert.
what gets measured gets managed, diba? So now that we are in the world of digital technology, everything is measured
Mm.
and taken into consideration, so you can manage everything and stuff like that. So there's so many theories of old that still apply now, diba?
Mm.
So and there's a lot of things that you can say nga what nakibaw pero they already know. That's why siguro there's a kind of conflict ba nga kibaw naman ko sa may tabo na ni ikaw, we don't know, right?
Yeah.
Because probably, for example, I'll give you an example. Let's just say an example like an old politician, di ba?
Mm.
Na idea niya ang batanon nga politician maingon nga so yun tani kay murag mo work ni siya. Ang politician maingon nga kang katiguwang na yun siya. Sos kapila na kung balik-balik ana dili man na mo work.
Tested.
Auto tested na siya ba? Both of them can be wrong, both of them can be right also, di ba?
Yeah.
Posible nga katong imuhang gibuhat niya itong una, the same thing that the young politician is suggesting now, it's probably an idea whose time has not come. Di ba? So ang batanon basig matimingan kang kanang idea ha mo work
Yeah,
na
work
karang
that-
panahon na
yeah, yeah.
right?
Mm-mm.
But at the same time also ang old politician said he probably thinks it doesn't work because he's already tried it before, di ba?
Mm-mm.
So, but we don't know who's right until we actually try it, right? But the young politician will probably, if he's already put in a position of power, will probably try the thing again, right?
Yeah.
That didn't work before. And probably it will not work again, di ba? Or it could work now, di ba?
Yeah.
So we will never know. So 50-50 ra gyapon ang success rate. Dili gid ingon 100%.
Yeah, sakto po.
Right?
Yeah, kaya naman katong so sayang first nag-try to na yung example yung pamaagi
Mm.
na may mga certain factors na dili present back then na present now. Let's say naapoy certain factors na present before na wala na now.
Correct. Oh.
So, did you ka maka-make sure, did you ka maka like,
50-50 gyapon, yeah.
Mhm.
50-50 gyapon. So what do you think of that, guys? 0999-8876-070. Sa inyong workplace, guys, is seniority still more valuable than ability, or is ability mura og catching up on seniority now? Because I think importante mo gunang mo respeto ta sa ato ang more quote unquote loyal employees, di ba? Kay di ba we value, we treasure itawag na to loyalty, di ba? Nga ni stay gid siya sa usa ka opisina, usa ka negosyo, usa ka whatever, right? But at the same time karon daghan na kayo madunggan, especially sa certain industries nga ang mga empleyado maghap-hap lang from one company to another. Walay loyalty ba? So what is happening now? Like, are you guys, are the Gen Z less loyal now compared to the previous generation? What do you think of that, Christine?
For me, sir, I think the reason why they would like hop on to another company because I think mas bold sila mo try gani og other company or like an experience. And I think maybe nagkamubo sa da.
Sildo?
Oh, siguro. Kay akong nabantayan no tinuod yun na ang kay nakoy mga kauban sad sa una daghan na kay sila company gani nga na suwayan. And then dili pagud sila ingon sobra ka bata mga late 20s na sila ba, and then daghan na kay sila companies na try. Ya mangutan ako kanang anong ni balhinday ka ani siya gamay ra sweldo or mana sila kanang murag layan sila mo nang muhap sila og laing kuan kay try na pud sila ani nga account or laing experience. I think most of the reason why dili sa loyal di man gud mapirmi ang kuan gud ang labi na batanon mura ganahan jud mo try og lain-lain ba.
What do you think of that, Holly? What do you think?
Yeah, I think labi sa among generation karon daghan kay na kanang dili kita gana ma-confine into like an four walls office space gana
Nganong dili mo sila magunahon og tarong before sila mosud og usa ka opisina. Kung niingon sila nga di sila ganahan mo-confine, maybe that's not the job for you. You know what I mean? Why don't you be more picky when you choose a job?
Yeah.
Kanang don't you want, di ba? It takes time to be good at something, di ba?
Yeah.
There's a 10,000 hours concept, di ba? So kung mapulanon kay kastanan, then maybe that's not the job for you. Maybe you need something that you can stick to, right? Be able to know whether you'll be good at this job. Kumukwit ka, like less than a year, for example, right? You haven't given the requisite time for you to be good at something. So maybe you should be more picky when choosing a job? What do you think?
But sometimes we don't really have the
Yeah, the luxury,
to
yeah.
be picky.
Exactly.
Especially now na very competitive ang job market.
Okay.
Like, mga Gen Zs. Dito are Gen Zs and kuan. Nasa tayo kalaban ng mga older people.
Okay.
So, sigurong there are
You have
mga-
you don't have the luxury to be picky, but you're hopping from one job to another. So mo gyapon like that na de choice de. What do you mean by you don't have a choice to be picky?
maybe like for example,
Anong
especially sa-
mag-job hop man. So na de kang kapilian di ay.
especially sa mga first time na kanang mga job kanang
Yeah.
apply og job
Okay, okay.
siguro. Kay di mo good like as I said earlier, the job market is very competitive and maybe we're just very desperate to like just get any job.
Any job.
Yeah, any
Both of
job.
Okay.
us
Unya
are very
mo lagi so nam
Ang
de
dagdag resume daw.
Experience.
Dagdag work experience.
mo lagi pero doesn't that look bad on you if you're after 2 months balhin ka, after 3 months balhin ka, after 9 months doesn't that look bad on
Yeah,
you?
it can look
And
bad.
if I'm an employer, I look at your resume, so man bayana sige balhin-balhin, isn't that a bad thing too? Nya kung naa kay option di ay choice di to balhin-balhin. Why didn't you go to that thing that you were going to make balhin at in the first place? Why commit to one thing when you have choices man di ay?
I feel like ang kanang
I think you're talking about ang specific industry ni BPO mo gini siya good. Usually
Yeah.
BPO ni siya. So I don't know if this is something that is endemic to BPOs or this is something that's happening not just in the BPO industry but other industries as well is my question, I guess.
Yeah, I think
compared to like BPOs, I think other industries mas daghan og loyal sa ilang company.
yeah.
No,
Ay.
I think sa BPO manggod, di mo ganid og, di ba, kasagaran mo kanda pwede naman mga senior high graduates or at least 2 years lang nakatungtong og college. Dili siya wala kay license gani nga giprotektaan. Like I'm not saying dili sila professional ang mag-work diha, pero kanang kasagaran manggod like para nako sa una nag-start ko nag-graduate ko og senior high. Wala ko experience and all. Senior high graduate ra gud ko. Then ni adto ko sa isa ka company kay mo dawat ba sila mga newbies like na wala experience. Mas nya ni try lang jud ko kay para nakoy work experience also kay para pampawha gani sa boredom. And then
Ano all.
I think
That's
I
another
think
topic.
I think sad kanang mo nang mag-hop ang mga tao kay mo lagi na wala sila lisensya nga gina-protect gani unlike sa if you're a teacher di mas ka pataka lang ini ka first year nako diri ko sa let's say USC sunod ato ko sa USGR sunod sad ato ko UC di ba they can't do that.
In case you're wondering what we're talking about seniority versus ability, which is being preferred now in our society, in the workplace. Is it ability, ang abilidad ba, o ang pagkatiguang ba, or ang pagka-loyal ba sa usa ka empleyado o sa katao? What are your thoughts on that? Text 0999-887-6070. You can also join us on TikTok, Tops Media Center on Facebook, Tops Media Center on YouTube as well. Please press subscribe or follow or like, okay? Sometimes, makalimuta ang mga, especially mga more senior employees or more senior individuals, makalimuta unsa tayo ta pagkabata nato. We forget, but we only remember or we only think about who we are now. But maybe when we were young, we also hopped from one job to another, right? I don't know. Maybe you can observe maybe from your parents, from your titos and your titas when they were younger. Did they like stick to one job? Is it the only job that they ever had, or did they like hop from one job to another also when they were younger? Kaya kanang young manggod, when you're young, you're adventurous, right?
Yeah.
You want to explore, di ba? So I guess that's not a generational thing. That's a youth thing, right? What do you think? Have you observed your parents, your titos and titas nga when they were younger? Did they like move from one job to another also?
Sa akong case kay they really stuck to one job. Yun.
Okay.
For all of them, they really stuck to one job. So maong like nakathink ko na generational things siya kay wala mo ko naka-observe sa ilaha na kuan na nag-hop sila.
Same case. Ako po murag anang stick lang into one job, I think.
One job, one company even, yeah.
Di ko sure sa one company daw. Akong dad before is OFW man good. And dili ko sure if like one company ba sa I think same man siya job sa gawas. And ako pong ma'am kay always ka lang sa business sa gyud namo. Akong bahayan duman. Until si Papa kaya sa politics, muna to ang like big shift. Ako na batayan. So,
How about you, Chris? What do you think?
My dad kay bata pa man siya nag-start og nagbanat ng buto.
Mm.
Kay
Nagbanat ng buto. So,
kay dili man kayo privilege ang akong dad.
Okay,
And
okay.
dayon mo to,
Wait, what's a nagbanat og buto? What does that mean?
maaga nagbanat ng buto kanang sayo na mula sa realidad. Sayo ni Ugi,
Sayo na
you
trabaho.
hustle hard.
Okay, go ahead. Continue. Sorry. I thought it was an actual job. Go ahead.
No, di mo to. I think, based from the stories nga akong nadunggan niya, dili mo siya mag-hop-hop. Daghan lang guro siya racket kung daghan siya time. Pero karon nga, like, nagkapamilya na siya, nagstay na siya in one company, OFW sila akong dad. Na siya sa barko for like, I think, same sa akong edad. Like, padung na 25 years siya dito. So, I think akong papa, loyal siya sa isa ka company kung makahatag og benepisyo.
So, katong imuhang papa, naghap-hap to siya og racket when he was younger.
Oo, kung asa ang like daghan
Pero
gani,
eventually nanabaho gid siya og one particular company or wala?
yes, ingana.
So, did he work in multiple companies when he was younger and then eventually settled in one, or did siya og settle sa company and then that's where he's working until now?
No, like dagan siya racket, and then I think nagkuan po siya sa Montebello Hotel.
Okay.
Pero nagdugay po siya, di siya ingon like kanang pagpila lang.
Okay.
And then until such time nga na opportunity naka abroad siya.
So I guess it's also if it's not youth, it could also be the choices. Maybe back then there weren't so many choices, right? Because my parents, I remember they stuck to one company, you know, and they worked there until they retired, you know. So it's probably also the choices and the number of jobs available. Maybe there were, we were, if you go back 50, 75 years ago, that was a simpler time. There were probably less jobs available also, right? What do you think? So it's not.
I think you have family sad good sir. Mas mustik na kag one company kay lisod ba ya if example mo resign ka ani and then need pa ba ka mag-transition ana,
Okay.
or like mag-process pa ka another papers, and then unsa man imong i-feed sa imong family. Unlike if you're single, like us, young and single, and among i-feed ra guro kay among self ra di wala
Correct.
ni responsibilities. So mas naami privilege nga mo jump to one company.
Or maybe before man good, kung if you with somebody or if you're married, automatic naman ang anak, di ba? Or mga anak yun, di ba? Karon man good, I think a lot of people, a lot of young couples don't have plans to have children, di ba? Are dinks, right? Double income, no kids, right? So I think that's also, that gives them a kind of flexibility also, and to hop from one job to another because they don't really have responsibility. Like kids, they need to have stable income, right?
Yeah, I think ang reason early diba in the kanang golden days, and the old days kay diba around 20s kay ang tao nag-set yung family, nagbalay and everything, kita 20 and so tong gibuhat karon. And so like I think that's one of the reasons kay sa early sa around 20s pa sa uban sa una is nanagin sila family na buhion. So like wala na ang luxury to like job hop. Yeah.
I think also most of the reason nga nung mas paboran ang seniority over ability kay kani mga seniors na mga ahead sa to kay kuan magud ka nang nasli dedication jud ba, like loyal sila, nasli dedication, napud sila drive to do kanang best mo gurong mas paboran sila sa company or naagya po ng seniority over ability. It's because of these characteristics. Kay
Loyalty.
Yes, kay if batanon example, mga batanon magud kay go with the flow, YOLO, bahala na ni. Ay nga na manggod guro. I think mo lang ang perception sa mga people in a corporate or sa company or anything lang jud.
Speaking of companies and technology ba, and especially with the new technologies now, the internet, there's a saying, you can't teach old dogs new tricks. What do you think of that? You can't teach old dogs new tricks. Tinood ba na siya?
It would again, it would
Mukha
depend.
ni Rohan.
Yeah.
Not you. Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Kano ka realize a joke. Sige.
Again, yeah, it would depend on the person because, yeah, na mga seniors na kanang willing sila mo learn na nasa uban na very traditionalist pod. So, ano siya?
Siguro
So
na-
can you teach old dogs new tricks?
siguro ng actual dog, I think lisod na siya. Pero ng like as mga as people, we're always capable of learning new stuff. And kanang you can always learn from kanang the younger generation. Again, ang norms before, di na ba norms now. It's not different. I think it's important to open yourself up to receive new ideas. Because even when you're older, ang growth ba nag-continue ba gihapon na di ba ka set in
it's a
stone na
lifelong
mauna gid na.
process.
Yeah.
So it's not true that you can't teach old dogs new tricks. What do you think, Christine? Is it true or not?
50-50?
50-50.
Kay, for example, sa we're in na kuan naman no, kanang very modern.
Mm.
And then, if you see mga old people doing, example, sa TikTok,
Mm.
trends, we're like, look, how weird. Nga nung wala ta, trying hard man kaayo. Nga nung,
Mm.
nga nung paapilon pa man na, nga na, and all.
Mm.
But, I think lang, to balance it all, para, guro na ay relationship ang seniority o ability,
Mm.
you have to bridge that gap and then let the seniors mentor the younger batch, and then ang katong mga younger batch kay ila pong tudloan sa mga norm or unsa na trending or unsa na uso.
But is that possible ba? Is that possible? I mean, like in a corporate environment ba? Do you think the age gap between the old and the new that they can still mentor each other? Do you think that's possible?
Yeah, I think it's possible.
Trabaho na sa HR za?
Yeah. It would also depend on
Correct.
the work environment sa inyong company if it really fosters those values of maybe like openness or
Okay.
katong giingon sa knowledge management na learning culture.
Mm-mm.
If mo foster sila yung ana, then yeah, it is possible for us to learn from one another regardless of how many years you've served in that company or in that industry.
Atong takna karon alas 11 na sa kabuntagon atong hisgutan karong buntaga senioridad og abilidad asa may gi-value sa society karong mga panahona. What are your thoughts? 0999-887-6070 mo kana atong text number. You can join us on YouTube, on TikTok. Nag-TikTok pud mi diha. Naami TikTok. Join us in our conversation there. So I think it is incorrect to say you can't teach old dogs new tricks. It is just that we don't want to see old dogs doing new tricks. But we can. Atong utok, if one of the greatest discovery of our time when it comes to neuroscience is that even at an advanced age, our brains are still very malleable and we can still learn new things. We're still able to learn a lot of new things. So it's not that we can't teach old dogs new tricks because that's still scientifically possible. It's just like Christine said, anong ga TikTok man to siya eh? We just don't want to see old dogs doing new tricks.
And sometimes po ang younger generation kay na sila maikog sila mo teach gani sa older na
Yeah.
one sometimes kay like we're also like hala what if kadang he's gonna think na I'm a know-it-all or ana like murag kinsa man ka na para mo teach ko kay mo teach ka na ako ana na mas senior ko nga na gani there's that judgment also.
Pero napudgi ka ng mga know-it-all yun na marag, ano mo tudlo pa man ko nimo kabalo man ko marag di na ganan mo share silang knowledge ba to like
Yeah.
lagi atong ingon na you don't wanna see old dogs doing new tricks, so
Yeah.
di na lang nila tudloan, and that's kind of like that's really rude, guys.
Yeah. Contradicting. I'd also want to talk we were speaking of the digital age, technology age kanina, diba? Do you guys think na remote work or hybrid work sort of like disrupts the dynamics between like seniority and like the hierarchy gani? Do you think na ma-disrupt siya if hybrid or remote work?
Ma-disrupt.
Yeah, ang dynamics of seniority.
First of
or
all,
hierarchy.
kana lang daan nga work from home is actually very disruptive, diba? In a way, diba? Because that's not what we're used to, diba?
Yeah.
And my brother, who is in the United States, actually works in one of the biggest health insurance companies in the world. He's actually working from home. And I see him when I was there. I was with him. He was working. There was like a room in his house on Paghuman. And then when the time came when to pick up his children, I picked up my nephews, right? And he has a lot of time to do other things, right? We played a little bit of basketball, and while he was working, like we watched television and we had a few cups of coffee and so on and so forth, right? So nindot siya, and it's very convenient to certain kinds of jobs. You're actually more effective in a way. So alarm na sa atong number of minutes. So that's already a disruptive thing because the person is not there in the office, right? But kung maanad na mo, kung familiar na mo, and the technology that you're using allows you for seamless looking for files, for example, or looking at each other's desktops and screens, the friction will be minimized. Kung ang age or ang seniority ang imong gistoryaan, para nako parihar gyud. Parihara. Parihara. Kung as long as the person, of course, who's on the other side knows the technology, kay mo na siya, di ba? Technology mo sa gigamit niya. So kung ang more senior nga empleyado nga kibaw siya mo gamit sa teknolohiya, then it's still the same dynamic, I think. What do you think? What do you think? Justin is here. Are you there, Justin?
Hi guys, top of the morning.
May buntag mo diya,
Hello.
Justin. Ang among gisigutan karong buntaga, Justin, is abilidad versus senioridad, right? Unya ni bring up si Hillary a very interesting topic. Kana ko nung work from home, does it affect the whole dynamic of seniority? Or is it just the same? Ako ang answer is it's just the same, I think, as long as the senior citizen, not the senior citizen, the more senior employee also knows how to work the boards, also know how to use the technology. What do you think of that? I'll ask you first, Justin, and then si Christine then. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think if we delve deeper to this topic, we talked about this a couple months ago also, no? Like, should you respect someone based on their rank and work, or is it like merit? Is it based on merit ba? Merit based? But then this is a good question, no? Is there like something that would affect if you are talking to someone higher than you in the ranks online versus if you are conversing with them or engaging with them in person, so in the workplace? So I agree with Jiggy nga, same siya for me because like kanang mga organizational hierarchy, that's there for a reason, and that applies regardless if you're doing work online or face to face. So I think it's the same thing in anything that applies kanang inga nga hierarchy in school pud kung online classes, diba? It doesn't mean nga you can suddenly not or you respect your teacher less just because you're learning online. So I think it's the same thing. Like as long as everyone is able to do their jobs, it should be the same.
What do you think of that,
For me,
Christine?
that's my opinion.
Okay, ato ko sa mo-post ko ninyo, Charis, para na icon station.
Drama.
I think there is a disrupt, Jud. Yes, because in this world, in this modern age, we focus more on especially kanang mga corporate, we focus more on the results, the kanang output rather than your presence, manggod. Like they judge you based on your deliverables, sa imong productivity and initiative. And younger generation are more tech savvy and then more innovative and kanang flexible gani when it comes to kanang learning new kanang digital tools, except if that senior is kanang actively kanang mo learn ganig mga new platforms. But I think there is a disrupt, Jud, kay people would rely man if you think magod if you're kanang if technology lang Jud, no, sa technology or kanang ingana, if you think manggod nga makita kag uy na ay ni apply nga batan-on ha ako ni siya i-hire kay I think kabaw ni siya sa mga bagong tools, and then kabaw ni siya sa mga trends and anything. And
well, I guess it depends. It depends also usang industriya sa siguro, diba? Maybe there are certain industries that require you to know the trends and all of that stuff. Okay, I'll
Mhm.
get to you both, but before that, we have a response here from Cindy Seno. Nag-ingon si Cindy nga, you can teach an old dog new tricks. I've used this during first day of selves. I am 53 years old and I entered law school since last year. All I needed is an open mind as long as one has hunger for learning. And some fresh graduate classmates that are old, in my opinion, don't amount that much. Ang tirira mandiao taon ilaha, they haven't been out to the woods, the real world. We've been toughened by those that didn't kill us, right? In hindsight, kuno, sayang nga di ay, uh, USC choristers just celebrated their 60th anniversary. They were active in the music industry then, like Chad Borja and Luke Mijares of South Border were USC choristers. And yes, we'd like them to be guests too. So nagingon siya nga it's just a matter of attitude, kuno. If you want to learn, if you
Agree.
feel like you should never stop learning, then again
Yeah.
it's backed up by science. Nga your brain is actually still able to learn even at an advanced age. Nga the brain is your neurons are still very malleable. What do you think of that, Hillary? Go ahead.
Sakto.
Yeah, I actually agree with what she said because learning is a lifelong process, one said. And going back to the work from home setup seniority thing, I think seniority, the concept of seniority, I think it can be blurred in a sense in the digital setup or in a work from home setup
Oh.
because, yeah, like what you guys said, na in terms of technology, mas hasa ba ya ang Gen Z? So in that sense, I think Gen Zs could be quote unquote seniors compared to the
No, but
kuan, like, in terms of-
I premised what I said earlier.
Mm.
This assuming that
Mm.
he already knows
Yeah.
the boards, meaning to say he already knows the technology.
Mm.
That's what I mean. I mean, like
Yeah.
you need to know a bare minimum siguro
Mm.
if you're online, right?
Yeah.
Right. I mean, like
Yeah.
the technology is just the Zoom or the technology, the camera. It's just the process, diba? In which you can see each
Yeah.
other.
Yeah.
But ang imuhang trabaho is you're still gonna use the same spreadsheet. You know, you're still gonna make the same decisions as you were in the office, diba? So the assumption here, of course,
Yeah.
is everybody knows the technology. So muna ang assumption na. So ang pangutana man gud nimo is not necessarily the trends and all of that stuff. It's whether it affects how we perceive
Work.
seniority from if we work
Yeah.
from a remote location, diba? So the assumption is kibaw siya technology. So mo niya paggamit sa iyang
Pag-join.
pag-join kundi siya kibaw, diba?
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
right? Or
Yeah.
are there other things nga he needs to do? For example, kanang accounting, oh. Kanang accounting, like I looked at my brother's work. Like the same things apply. You know, like there's still a spreadsheet, and you know how to program the cells and all of that stuff. So pariya nagyapon, it's still the same old thing. It's just nga he's just doing it
At
from
home.
another location. Moray diferensya ba is just
Yeah.
the location. But if there are other technologies that you need to learn, then I don't know what are you referring to? For example, what are you talking? What kind of technology aside from the ability to broadcast or to work from another location? What are the other technologies that are involved in work from home? What do you mean?
Maybe it will depend sa industries.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what you're about to say something, Justin. Oh, but before that, Ollie, would you like to say a few words?
Muna to akong i-add na, it really depends sa field po na imong gitrabaho. Kay, example, if nakakaya sa imong ganun sa katong mga spreadsheet sa yung mga work, and I think it would still be the same. Ang nakalahi lang kay ang workplace, good. Ano ba, when it comes to like siguro marketing, that's a
IT.
different kind of story.
You're about to say something, Justine. Go ahead.
Yeah, I totally agree. No, but this also reminds me of a film that I watched it a couple weeks ago. It's called The Internship. Have you guys seen that film?
Yeah.
Yeah, The
I've
Internship,
seen
di ba?
Hathaway?
Starring, kitsa di nga actor, oy nga, he's known for the way he talks, he does the voice of Lightning McQueen also. Whatever, that
Yeah,
blonde guy.
I
that
forgot his
blonde
name.
actor.
I forgot. I know what you're talking about.
You know him,
I know
right?
Vince Vaughn was there, right?
Vince Vaughn.
And
Okay,
the
Vince
and the
Vaughn,
other
and then-
guy, I forgot his name. Yeah.
Yeah, the guy nga he has like a broken nose bridge. I forgot his name.
Yeah, that guy. Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah,
what
so
about
I
the
think
movie?
this
Nick
is very
Campbell?
No. He's the one who does the voice of Lightning McQueen.
Anyway,
William Mahon, kana siya?
it doesn't matter. So you were saying, Justin, go ahead.
Right, right. So
The movie
this reminds me of
Internship,
the
yeah.
film, yeah, the internship, no, nga, just to, ano, no, not to spoil anything, but the basic idea is that there are these, in their mid 40s, no, nga,
Owen
they've been
Wilson.
salesmen all their lives and they've been successful salesmen, but the story takes a complete turn when their company suddenly closes down. The company they were previously at, they used to sell watches, so they need to have a change of career. Karon, ni-apply sila sa Google, but
Mm.
what was available to them was an internship.
Mm.
And in the internship, they had to compete for the slot to actually be hired.
Mm.
And in that internship, they slowly discovered that they were, in a way, in that industry, even though they're seniors technically in life, no, they have more sales experience than most of the interns
Okay.
combined. They've actually closed sales. Their interpersonal skills are through the roof. Gimay na sila. But when it came to the technical skills needed for that kind of jobs, especially knowledge on software, on Google itself, on search engine optimization, all those tech stuff, they had to learn from the beginning. So murag, I think that shows also the disparity ba in certain industry nga. You can be good at one thing, you can be a senior in one sense, but also be a noob
Mm.
in another sense, no? And then it was nice, ang lesson sa story is that murag, they were able to work with with their team of younger professionals who were also in the internship nga. They were able to learn each other. Sila, they taught as seniors, they were able to teach the younger generation nga, being interpersonal, having that kind of natural sales instinct is important in all industries.
Mm.
And then at the same time, they also learned that if you want to adapt to a certain industry, you can't expect na you know everything when you enter. You
Mm.
still have to
Mm.
learn from the beginning. So mauna siya, sila Vince Vaughn and the other character, they learn coding, they learn ka ng mga Python, mga things that you wouldn't expect to learn at their age. Pero
Correct.
nagkataon gid sila
Mm.
There's a
from the
similar movie
beginning.
to that, Justin. Katosang The
Mm.
Intern. I don't know if you remember that. Si,
Kang
The
Anne
intern,
Hathaway.
yes.
si Anne
Anne
Hathaway o si
Yeah.
Robert De Niro, right?
Mm.
That's also
Ana,
also
that's
kind of
also a really
similar.
good
He's a senior
film.
citizen who already retired, and he was looking
Mm.
for a job because he was bored out of his mind, right? And
Sana
being a
all.
retiree,
Mm-mm.
so he worked as an assistant, actually a driver slash assistant to Anne
Mm.
Hathaway,
Anne
right?
Hathaway.
For a .com company at that, right? So that was also very
Mm-mm.
interesting, right? So daghan, actually, if you think about it, but if both of them, meaning to say the older ones and the younger ones, if they're just
Mm.
open, I think we have so much to learn from each other. I kid you not. Like
Yeah, super.
sakto gito gusulti nimo, like like the humans evolution when it comes to the human being, hilay man ang evolution ng tao. So kanang, for example, salesmanship, right? And the principles of selling and your behavior and all of that stuff. They can learn
Yeah,
from the old guys, diba? About
yeah,
human behavior, diba? Because human behavior does not change that much, although naigamay
yeah,
small
exactly.
increments. But when it comes to technology, of course, grabe kayong kausaban. So the older guys also have a lot to learn from the younger guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was
Kasi-
a part. There was a part in the film where I think one of the interns who was working there, mga very siya kanang not sociable at all, but he was very very good at coding.
Yeah.
And then he saw Vince Vaughn, one of the characters, struggling. Vince Vaughn was doing something sa yung computer niya, pirmi sa'yo pang answer or something like that.
Yeah.
Then nitudlo ang younger intern niya nga, actually this is the correct answer, blah blah blah. And then he told him, you know what? I've seen the way you speak to people. You have a gift. He was like, everything that we do in this company, all the tech stuff, it's a lost art. But the art of communicating with people, that's something that. So it was meaningful. I felt that scene was very important. No, nga sometimes when you're in an older generation and you're starting off with a new industry, which is very much encouraged. No, I've spoken to a lot of entrepreneurs who have done that, taken the risk at the right age to start something new in an industry nga wa sila experience in. And that's one thing that they always say, good nga, if you have the soft skills ba, like
And
communication.
also, if you think
important.
about it, a lot of the technology is actually very intuitive, diba? A lot of technology actually can be learned right away. I remember my mom who went from not knowing about Facebook to a frigging troll, man, to a frigging like expert on Facebook. You know what I mean?
Your mom was a Facebook troll?
Yeah.
No,
So no, what I'm I'm just kidding. I'm exaggerating. But what I'm saying but is this nga, she learned how to use Facebook eventually, right?
Yeah.
It just takes a little time,
And
right?
practice.
Practice lang gud siguro, but I think eventually, but it's not that hard to learn, especially with AI now, diba? You can actually, hey, Chat GPT, teach me how to use a cell phone, right? And they can actually guide you into using it. So all of these technologies actually can be used by people across ages, right? Across
A lot of technologies nowadays will give very user friendly food. So gamay rang like tulo-tulo here and there.
Yeah.
Gabi na kag malabdan.
Yeah.
Bisan akong parents,
Mm.
sa so na kay mas stress man jud nang unsaon ni pag status bar, unsaon ni pag like this like that. I'm like,
So once this looks like we're talking about a technology problem, not a seniority versus ability problem, right? It looks like it's something that they just need to adapt to, di ba? Kaning teknolohiya, and then the ability takes over, right? But kung ang atong problema ang mga senior dili mo adapt sa technology, I think that's another problem. I think that's another problem. That's not a problem of the company, right? Kung dili gyud kan mo learn, like that's your job to learn, bro. You know what I mean? You know, like even the younger ones now, you have to learn a lot of things. You have to be resilient. You have to learn. You have to be a quick change artist. You have to be nimble because you don't know if your job exists tomorrow, diba?
Yeah.
Even if you're young, you need to still be like the older ones who need to learn a new skill because you also don't know what your job is going to be tomorrow if it's still available. What do you think of that, guys? Do you feel that?
Yeah.
Justin, do you feel that?
So
Justin,
true.
do you feel like we don't know what jobs will be available tomorrow?
Yeah, the landscape of kanang trends and jobs are changing constantly, because of the advancement in technology. A lot of jobs before that were existing, like jobs that require manual labor, they're slowly being replaced na. And we can't deny that part of our human nature is the fact that sometimes the output that we put out is imperfect. And so, this kind of reminds me, bang, like in law school, we learn about how in mga trial, in mga cases, na maging stenographer, right? That's an actual person who was trained
Yeah.
to type in whatever ang
I don't
tanan.
think that job exists anymore, right?
Well, yeah, I think in some courts they still make use of that, no? Pero I
Okay.
was thinking about how now grabe na kayo mga AI note takers.
Correct.
Like,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
when I join meetings, I don't do anymore like kanang taking minutes of the meeting. Like I actually just put an AI to summarize even across different
can do
languages.
that,
It does
okay.
that.
But
when you-
Justin,
Yep, guys.
although you're correct, Sanga, it's easier to do learning through AI and through the computer, right? But there's some wisdom and there's something to be learned also to be gained if you actually write things down, right?
Oh, yeah.
We
Yeah,
we
for sure.
still write things down. I still write things down, and
Yeah.
the learning process. I think there's something that gets lost if you type it, if you dictate it, compared to writing it down. It's probably more convenient, but in terms of retention, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. No, okay, that's also proven sa mga kinesthetic learners that part of their experience in learning to really grasp all information to process is having to write tactile movement. It's very important. I myself am a kinesthetic learner as well, but I think in the efficiency, like in that certain workplace, but like I think that it would be more efficient if courts would make use of technology that would automatically record. Pero then it would open a new can of worms of like data privacy, kung
Yeah.
malik ba siya or kanang ma-mistaken ang mga machine, but we can't stop it. And in the same way,
So
that's why gani ang voting di change na.
I'm surprised,
diba?
Justin. You mentioned nga that job still exists, kanang stenography. That still exists, ba?
Let me double check. Ha? I
Yeah.
think in some courts they still make use of that. No,
I
kay
think I have a friend whose mom is a stenographer.
Okay. So so the job still exists.
Yeah.
like I think there was once upon a time counting votes manually was also a job, and then that was slowly replaced in the 2010s with kaning electronic voting.
Correct.
So,
Yeah. There's
diba?
even there's even a movement now that you can vote using your cell phone. So I
Oh yeah, katong Google Forms.
Google Forms,
Nilang koan.
Bill.
yeah
Google Forms
yeah.
vote.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Recently rato, diba?
Real to siya or like basta satire of it though.
No, there is a movement now, not just in the Philippines but all over the world. Your cell phone is your identity. You're there on your cell phone more than you're at home, or more time in the cell phone than talking to your parents. So might as well be able to vote using it, right? Ang kandukan
Yeah.
manggod sa mga katawhan is really the possibility for cheating, for fraud, right? So mo ang bantayan na to. So I think that technology is coming soon.
Yeah, yeah. And Malgina, I really think that a lot of industries are not slowly being replaced, but they can be good also not, I wouldn't say replacement, man, good, because you still need that other industries. Like for example, I just recently got my blood works done and stuff like that. It's not like for a reason that I need to bring it to a doctor, pero out of curiosity, I wanted to understand some gini yung pasabot ani mga arrows. I uploaded my blood work in ChatGPT and it was able to tell me what exactly those means. Gano taas ang hemoglobin, like this, like that. It's ano man kay it's not necessarily a diagnosis, but if you need help in understanding those kind of documents, it's not a full replacement of to going to a doctor, but at least I know. So yeah,
So
I
so
was thinking like,
kung kanang technology ma-learn na siya eventually, nanay learning curve nga
mm,
gamay, kung ang AI makatudlo ra nato, kung ang teknolohiya nga atong gigamit very intuitive, very easy to learn, di ba? Human friendly. So unsa man di ay characteristics sa usa ka empleyado, sa usa ka tawo nga
yeah,
valuable gidi ay is
yeah,
it,
dili good ay
dili
ma-replace.
ma-replace day og machine because atong hisgutan mo gud is the technology that we're using to navigate an industry. But kung if we all agree nga if everybody can learn the technology eventually, then there must be something that's more important than
Oh, that's a
technology,
good question.
right? So
Bitaw.
what characteristic mo da is it that's important in the workplace? What do you think?
Kana, what?
Hillary, go ahead.
Bitaw.
Maybe resiliency and sincerity.
Okay.
Because I don't think those values could be replicated by AI. So yeah, I think it's uniquely human food. Kay for example, like what you said katong taking down notes kay ang AI man good or like technology murag kuwara guys sila igora sila mo take down notes but kita kay pwede ta maka-add og contacts or like whatever additional information it needs. So yeah, I think resiliency and sincerity.
How about you? What do you think, Ollie?
I'll just put it contacts are like actual workplace. I think like, ang mawala if like mapulag AI tanan is like the social connections between workers. Kanang work
Sociability,
friends.
sociable.
Yeah, sociability. Yeah.
What do you think, Christine? What do you think? What do you think is an important characteristic in the workplace? The most important, one of the most important.
For me is integrity lang guro kanang you're being honest
Yeah,
and then
I think that's
what
important. I don't think you can teach that, right? And
To
and
Yeah.
and I don't think you can teach a machine to be honest, right?
Yeah.
And especially now with technology, that it's so easy to cheat, di ba? So I think more than ever, we need a lot of honesty. What do you think, Justin? What's the most important characteristic in the workplace? Our time now it is
Yeah,
11. Go ahead, continue. You're live now. Go ahead.
Our time now is 11:25. Top of the morning to everyone listening to us on the radio. Those joining us at on YouTube Live.
So what do you
Top Media
think?
Center.
What do you think is a good characteristic in the workplace that can that's more important than the technology?
I would say empathy. I think that
Right.
empathy and sympathy. Those are two things, no, that technology cannot fully replicate. Maybe to a certain extent it can, like generative AI, you can ask it to relate to you. It'll say words like, oh, I can relate, I can imagine this and that. But the human, real, genuine experience of empathizing and sympathizing with someone's emotions, that's something dili gyud ma fully replicates technology. And I saw this, no, in any industry that has to do with like the humanities, for example, no. So in therapy, in psychology, I would say, I don't think there will really be a time that people will go to therapy for to a AI compared to actual seeing a human psychologist or therapist, no, because that human experience of actually knowing that there's someone listening to you, empathizing with you, is totally different from when you're sharing your information and divulging your problems to technology. So yeah, empathy and sympathy. I think that will never be fully replicated.
It is now 11:26. You're listening to Top of the Morning. Of course, our topic for this morning, karong buntaga, is abilidad versus senioridad. Sakto ba senioridad? Mo ba na minisaya sa seniority?
I think so.
0999-8876-070. That's the number you can text. And also join us in our conversation on YouTube, on Facebook, and also on TikTok. Atong topic karong buntaga is seniority versus ability. kanang ability, I think katunan nam siguro na, di ba? Katunan mo gina siya, di ba? Ang problema lang siguro kung tiguang na kay mong mga mata siguro padaghan naman kayong mga batanon karon mag-antipara kitang tanan diri mga batanon poros nag-antipara nam ta, di ba?
Yeah.
Dili mo siguro na kinahanglan kay kusgan kay kastanan ka ng internet, di ba? Kinahanglan naman ka og kaning kibaw lang ka mo kuan mo gamit nya kanang ato ang kanang mga iPhones karon sayo naman kay gamiton makatunan nam dayon. Yan na lang yung tendency ta nga moingon ta nga di mo ko kabawa na tuloy ko na dong, di ba? Na tendency ba nga because you don't know what you don't know, murag kuyawan ka, but eventually once you get the hang of it sayon na kay sanan gyud. I think that's the easy part, and I'm glad that we came to that conclusion. Now there are characteristics of a human being, of a person that's beyond technology and is universal and is useful all throughout time. And katong integrity, empathy, sociability, what were you saying? Resiliency, sincerity, integrity. I think those are very, very important traits of a person, and I think that should be like a clarion call for all the employers out there that we still need those things, whether there's new technology or not. Our time now, it is 11:28. You're listening to Top of the Morning. I'm your host. My name is Jiggy Juice. Good morning.